Okay, great. Okay, so today I'm going to present on job searching, social media, and entering the job market. And this presentation is by Alex Hoffman, youth coach through Leeds Employment Services. So just a quick overview of Leeds. Leeds is a not-for-profit employment and skills development agency headquartered in London, Ontario. And they've been providing specialized services for people with disabilities or barriers throughout southwestern Ontario, as well as our youth program, which focuses on anyone who would like to start volunteering in their community. And we have that in Oxford County, St. Thomas, and a lot of other areas as well. So some goals of this presentation, I just want to talk about an overview of Oxford County employment, and then searching for the right work now, searching for entry work, and then social media and employers. So this information I found here is current as of this week of August 10th. So any kind of recommendations based on safety or coronavirus, just make sure to check up-to-date local guidelines, because you know that's changing all the time. In fact, I know in Oxford County right now, Oxford and Elgin, they've just implemented the mandatory masking in indoor spaces. So I know that's something new that we're looking at. So just to start off, and this may be familiar to some of you, but for Oxford County, it actually encompasses a pretty large area. So you've got Zora, Woodstock, Norwich, Tillsonburg, and Ingersoll. So a lot of these, we know Woodstock is the kind of the center of this, and then we have Ingersoll, and then Blenheim and Norwich, all these kind of local counties. So we serve all of this area, and this is where I'm going to be looking at some of the employment jobs. Just a quick overview, because I know we've seen a little bit of this before, but so projected growth in the next many years, we've got 21,000 jobs projected, and right now we've got about 57,000 job roles in Oxford County overall. So you see a lot of significant growth in this area for work. And just a quick look at the stats here again. So a lot of manufacturing and transportation and warehouse you'll see here. That's kind of on the upward trend. Trades. So a lot of that going on in Oxford County right now, and farms and construction. But we're also seeing a lot of arts, entertainment, a lot of people moving in from the greater Golden Horseshoe of kind of Waterloo, Toronto, because Woodstock and Oxford County is a great place to live in, great real estate property values, and it has a lot of things that are currently attracting people to the area to move there. So you're going to see a lot of employment changes in the next 10, 15 years, I'd say. Yeah, so you can see the area there's the greater Golden Horseshoe. So another quick note in terms of reopening, last time I talked to you, we were in stage 2, I think. So this time we're in stage 3. So we've got everything has pretty much reopened. All the businesses that want to reopen can reopen. So the majority of them have, and then put in place safety guidelines. So a lot of mask wearing. You'll see a lot of heavy disinfecting going on, which is great. So things are reopening again. So yeah. So welcome back. I think stage 3 is great. I'm happy about that. Next up, I want to talk about entry-level job searching and related to pandemic that we're coming out of. I've noticed a lot of news stories about the difficulty of new graduates actually finding an entry-level position in today's job climate. And these quotes are just taken from a CBC story I saw, that the new virus, or the virus, has taken a toll on new graduates, and especially students that are looking for summer work, simply because a lot of those entry-level jobs, employers might have stopped hiring, or they might have eliminated those positions entirely. But the jobs are still out there. That's not to be discouraging. A lot of places are still hiring due to people leaving or retiring or attrition. Yeah. So good news. So a lot of entry-level jobs like retail, manufacturing, coffee shops, stuff like that. Other workplaces are still hiring to replace people, and this will continue throughout. So my suggestion in this regard is just to keep handing out those resumes, keep doing the applications, and keep searching for job boards or jobs through job boards, and consider any roles you might find interesting in this area. I know if you're in the Oxford County area, you feel like, oh, well, maybe I can only work at a farm or whatever. But if you don't like that, that's fine. If you do, that's great. But there's lots of other places where you can work, and a lot of jobs to be found, I think. Yeah, so I said here, if you're working somewhere for the time being, especially if you're not done post-secondary yet, or if you're in high school, or you're thinking of going to post-secondary, just having some work experience, no matter where it is really good, because it builds those marketable skills that you can put down on your resume. And then, of course, volunteering as well. So if you want to start volunteering, you can do that right now too. A lot of places are looking for volunteer roles. For instance, community gardens. So I know in Strathroy right now, the Women's Rural Resource Center is taking the community garden in Strathroy behind the police station, and they're growing a lot of garden crops, everything, and they're going to donate that to local places that need it. And that's all outdoors. It's pretty safe because it's outdoors right now. So a lot of community gardens and outdoor work is available if you're looking for that type of work or volunteering. And here's some other jobs I found currently in demand. These are fairly recent from Indeed.ca. So we got Sobeys here, some PetSmart, Toyota. A lot of volunteering has been placed on hold, unfortunately, but the paid positions are still there. So you can still find places that will be hiring right now. Okay, now into the next portion of my presentation here. I want to talk about everybody's favorite thing, social media, which is just all over nowadays, and how it may impact positively or negatively on your job searching, and just things to keep an eye on, because every time you open Facebook, it says, how are you feeling today, or they're asking you to post constantly on these as soon as you open these apps. And I always think it's a good idea to think twice and think about if that's going to be on whoever's social media forever. So I've got some funny stories related to that later. Okay, so social media, how can it help? And I think it really can help your job search by presenting an image to employers, whether you be a small-time business or a photographer, or a small business that's just looking to start up, be it a one-person or a small business. You can also use your social media to present a positive professional image as well. So you can certainly find a lot of social network job postings right now as well. So there's a lot of job websites inside those social networks. Now, my social media cons list is a little longer here, so I'm just going to go through that one as well. It's because I found more cons for social media in my research, just based on just the stories. And I think part of that is media in general, which runs with a lot of stories related to this. But one thing you want to keep in mind is how private is your social media network. So can you turn the privacy filter on? Can you just, so people cannot view your profile? Probably a good idea. But you might want to have some presence out there as well. So if you're applying for a job, or people are trying to find you, a recruiter perhaps, want to have something out there just that has a professional image of you on it. You want to think, when you're posting something on social media that's publicly available, how does that portray you? And is there anything that could be considered unprofessional that you might not want a future employer or a current employer to see? But it's okay to make mistakes too. You can always delete content. People like to say that stuff cannot be deleted online, but I think you'll find things can be deleted off your social media profile. So don't worry, if you've posted something, you can delete it. So I wanted to give you an example of a social media business profile that I found in Woodstock. which I thought was very professional and rather new as well. So this is a great example of what you can do with social media, be it a personal or professional. So many employers are using social media right now as a kind of unofficial background check into who you are, and of course, official background checks. You'll see places hiring, or organizations such as, let's say, any government roles or policing, for instance. These types of roles will have an extensive background search into social media. Whereas, let's say if you're applying to maybe a grocery store or a coffee shop, you might not have as much of a background check, but it might still be, your name might be on Google and people might search for that. So it's totally okay to have a professional presence on LinkedIn, Twitter, or Facebook. Just want to make sure that most of that content is kept professional, and whatever you want to share with just friends is kept on the private setting. I found a quote here that said 43% of employers screen job candidates through social networks and search engines, and then further disqualified 36% of those job candidates. So it's something to think about. And then I wanted to highlight some stories that we might have heard lately about people that might have been fired or let go from past tweets and things of that nature. So just to keep that in mind when you're putting anything on social media. Because if you choose to share the content publicly, make sure it's working to your advantage. As Rosemary says here from Career Builder, I found this info. So you want to secure anything that could be potentially viewed by an employer as unprofessional, and share content that highlights your accomplishments and qualifications. Yeah. So another thing too is like grammar, communication skills, punctuation. Let's say if you have a LinkedIn profile or a publicly available social media website, employers might look at that depending on the job role. Right. So as I said, the showcasing your professionalism on social media, employers will use it to positively screen people. So they find professional content on your social media. That's a good thing. You've got the job. You know, that's going to elevate your application over people that might have had content that was not as professional. Yeah. So like, as this quote here says, you don't need to focus on removing all the content. Just work on building a strong social network profile, and then create an online profile that does a good job of representing your skills and experiences. So let's say if you're graphic design, for instance, you know, you can showcase your art or design on your social media profile, or photography. A lot of people do that. So here are two stories I found, which were, I thought were interesting, to say the least, about some employees that were let go after their social media profiles were found. So you guys can read through those if you want. But they were let go after previous care, and then posted on Facebook that she doesn't like working at a daycare. So probably something to stay away from is posting about your employers as well. If you are employed at the current time, then don't post about that on social media. Probably a good idea to keep that to yourself, I would say. Yeah, so some resources for job searching right now. Just keep your resume up to date and cover letter. Those things are something you can always work on. Graphic design wise, make them look professional. Have your mom or dad or have anyone that you trust double checking or reviewing it. Go over it, give you some suggestions. Don't be afraid to ask your friends for help for, hey, take a second look at this. Can you rewrite this maybe? If you know anyone that's really good at writing university essays or writes a lot, you can ask them too. They're usually good at finding great ways to rephrase things. You can use your network, look for postings in person as well as on websites. So if you're looking for work right now, all the different websites there's constant postings on there. So Indeed.ca, multiple other websites. And you really got to keep applying for jobs right now. I found one person who had recently applied for a job, got an interview after applying for 20 different job roles. They only got one interview. So don't be discouraged. I think this is true of any job market at any time, especially now. You're going to have to apply more and just put all those applications out there that you can. You know, doesn't hurt in trying. Oop, there you go. So for more employment sector data, if you like the stats, go to oxfordcounty.ca. A lot of different information about the job roles and planning for the future. If you'd like to stay in Oxford County, there are a lot of careers you can pursue. And there's a lot of information on the ontario.ca website. So you can career browse different kind of areas that you might like to work. This is kind of guidance counselor territory, but you know, you want to see what education you need to get to the job role you want later in life. I would suggest doing that now, especially if you're in grade 11 or 12. You want to figure out, hey, what courses might I need right now to further my education later? Do I need this for maybe first year university, or you know, if I'm going to college or something? And that's something I think, yeah, it's super important to do. Not often something that we will, at that stage in our lives, think, oh, we should really do that. But you know, use those resources, guidance counselors, teachers, ask them. They can definitely help with this type of thing. Yeah, and my last point is don't discount volunteering if you can't find work right now. Volunteering is a great way to showcase your job skills to a potential employer down the line and gain some amazing skills and experiences. So you can have a lot of experiences, a lot of skills from volunteering that will translate later to work, or you might be volunteering somewhere and that volunteer workplace says, this guy or you know, person is a great employee. I'm going to hire them right now. So, you know, you might be volunteering for some organization for a couple of years and they hire you. That's a great way to find a job right now as well. Yeah. So that's all I had for this presentation. Overview of the job market in Oxford County, and then some information about social media. So thank you for having me here. And we'll be back with another presentation soon. So